The 19th Sunday of Ordinary Time. We are continuing the rising action in the play, which is in chapter 6 of John's Gospel. It's about who Jesus really is. And it's about Jesus saying, I am more than you know me to be. You think you know me because you know my mother and my father. And you think you know me because you have seen the signs. But the signs are invitations, not total revelations. And you think the sign is the reality, that I am a bread giver, and I am a water giver, and I am a healer. But those are just invitations to go beyond into a more faith experience. And that is what Jesus is inviting the people to do, and what John is writing for his community. His community is struggling. As I've said, should they remain with this new way, this following Jesus as the new revelation, the new covenant? It all seems so new that many are going back. And understandably, the new is difficult. And to live this new life is difficult. And so they want to go back to what they knew. And that's the tension. That's what we're facing, not only in the Eucharist, not only in the church, but in the person of Jesus. Can we let him be beyond us and inviting us? See, we are so sense-based that we think we know what it is because we see what it is, or hear what it is, or taste what it is. It's a call to faith. Now we got to remember, in the beginning, 2 weeks ago, it said it was the Passover time, which is a very significant calendar event. And they are recalling the bread of the Exodus, that they unleavened bread because they didn't have time for it to leaven, to rise, and the manna in the desert bread, keeping them alive. And Jesus is using a very familiar and comfortable image, bread, in the Passover experience, in the Exodus experience. And he is saying, now there's something new. You are familiar with the bread that your ancestors ate, and they died. I am bread that gives new life, a new way of letting God be good to you, be God to you. And we want signs that are realities. We want to have it in our hand. We want Jesus to be very clear. Why don't you just come right out and say it? Well, he is saying it. I am the bread, and I have come that you may have life. As your ancestors received life for the journey, and in the first reading today we see this man who is, Elijah, is being hounded, and he sits down to sleep, and he wants to die because the journey is too much. And the angel gives him bread and water for the living. Keep going. The bread of life is to keep going toward eternal life. We'd like to understand eternal life now. What is heaven? Is it worth waiting for? Let's have signs. Can we have, at the Eucharist, when we consecrate the wine, can we have smoke come out of the chalice, or lightning or something? Then we believe. No, believing is more than knowing. Believing is a way of seeing. Seeing is not a way of believing. And that's what the Jewish people in John's community are saying, these are difficult sayings, and not only about you are the bread of life, but all your teachings. As we say, using a bit of an image, as bread is swallowed, Jesus, you are hard to swallow. It's hard for you to take over all our decisions, all our comforts, living with all our pains. Now, if you would do everything according to the way we want it, we'd believe. No, you would know. We know his mother and father, so now this coming week, we will have the celebration of the Assumption of his mother into heaven, and she believed. That's what we're celebrating this week. Belief in taking in the person of Jesus and not demanding signs and not demanding clarity and not demanding a surety of our choices. So we, like Elijah, keep walking. The Eucharist that we receive is bread for the journey, not just for sitting and resting. I know there is a devotion to adoration in private chapels, and I am all in favor of adoration. But the object of the Eucharist is to be lived, is to be taken in and distributed through our lives. And even in the adoration, it's Jesus saying, yes, I am here, I am with you here, you take me with you there. So it is a here and there experience, and Jesus is asking his followers, can you take me in to let me out? And they are saying, no, we loved the tradition. We loved the old. Let us have comfort in the reality of our Jewish tradition. And that's the tension. The Jews were very faithful. And Jesus was calling them to a new type of faith, and that was too difficult for some. So the blessing is for us to receive him as he wants to be seen, receive him as he wants to be given, but then lived out. That food is given for us that we might do something, we might live physically. The bread of life comes to us that we might live the faith life from inside and expressing our faith in the deeds of love, forgiveness, and encouragement. As we are encouraged, we encourage. As we are fed, we become feeders to his brothers and sisters. Receive well, live well.